You've been told to count calories and cut portion sizes. But what if the real thing keeping stubborn fat on your body isn't how much you eat? It's what you eat and how your body responds hormonally. Here are 7 underappreciated foods that can actually help accelerate weight loss, not by trickery, but by targeting the metabolic levers that matter, lowering insulin spikes, increasing satiety, calming inflammation, and supporting a healthier microbiome. These are practical, testable swaps you can try this week without starving yourself or buying gimmicks. First, a short primer so you know why these particular foods matter. Insulin is the signal your body uses to store fuel. Repeated high insulin, and the resistance that follows, pushes energy into fat and makes weight loss much harder. 2 of the best ways to blunt insulin spikes are to eat more fiber and to combine protein with fat. Fiber slows glucose absorption, and fat paired with protein reduces the insulin response and keeps you full longer. Inflammation and poor circulation also make it harder to burn fat and recover from exercise. Anti-inflammatory nutrients like omega-3s and polyphenols help reverse that. Finally, the microbes in your gut influence hunger hormones and immune signaling. Supporting helpful microbes can make your appetite calmer and your metabolism more cooperative. With that physiology in mind, let's walk through the 7 foods that most people ignore, but that consistently support these mechanisms. If you're serious about trying this, like the video, subscribe, and write "I'll try" in the comments. Then stick with me through the whole list so you know exactly how to use each food this week. 1. Raw sauerkraut, the crunchy microbiome booster. This jar of fermented cabbage is one of the most practical ways to add live microbes, lactic acid bacteria, and gut-healing factors to your diet. Raw sauerkraut brings fiber plus live probiotics that can improve gut barrier function and reduce low-grade inflammation. It's also a surprisingly concentrated source of vitamin C and some beneficial sulfur compounds that support digestion and tissue repair. From a weight loss perspective, the benefits are twofold. The live culture can nudge hunger-regulating pathways toward steadier signals, and the fiber helps blunt post-meal glucose rises. How to use it? Aim for about a half to 1 cup per day. Add half a cup to a lunch salad. Tuck a spoonful next to grilled fish, or stir it into a bowl of greens. Keep it raw. Pasteurized sauerkraut loses the live microbes. If you buy it, look for bottles labeled raw or unpasteurized. Homemade sauerkraut can be great too, but follow safe fermentation practices, clean equipment, adequate salt, and a reliable fermentation time so you don't get unwanted molds. Cautions: if you have SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or histamine sensitivity, fermented foods can make symptoms worse. Introduce them slowly and consider working with a clinician. For pregnant or immunocompromised individuals, check with your provider before adding raw ferments. Also note that nutritional values vary. 1 cup of sauerkraut can be as low as about 1.9 net carbs in typical tests, but homemade or different brands will vary. 2. Arugula, the nitric oxide leafy green that helps circulation and metabolism. Arugula is spicy, peppery, and often overlooked next to kale or spinach. What makes arugula special is its high content of dietary nitrate precursors, which the body converts into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a short-lived messenger that widens blood vessels, improving circulation and delivering oxygen and nutrients to muscles and metabolic tissues. Better blood flow supports exercise performance, recovery, and metabolic flexibility. Small advantages that add up when you're trying to lose fat. How to use it? Eat arugula raw for best nitrate preservation. Toss a generous handful into salads, top cooked fish or burgers with it, or blend into pesto. Dress it with a good quality extra virgin olive oil and a squeeze of lemon. A simple meal: arugula, a few spoonfuls of raw sauerkraut, grilled salmon, and evo, fast to assemble and metabolically smart. Cautions: nitrate-rich vegetables are safe for most people, but if you're taking certain medications or have specific cardiovascular treatments, check with your clinician. Wash leafy greens well and consume fresh for the highest nitrate content. 3. Wild-caught salmon, concentrated omega-3s to calm inflammation. Wild salmon is one of the most efficient ways to raise your body's EPA and DHA, omega-3 fats that lower inflammatory signaling, support brain health, and improve the body's ability to use fat for fuel. Reduced inflammation helps insulin work better, and omega-3s have been associated in studies with better body composition and metabolic markers. Practical numbers: A 3-ounce serving of wild salmon often delivers in the ballpark of 2,500 milligallons of combined EPA and DHA, depending on species and season. That's a powerful dose for a small serving. How to use it? Aim for skin-on servings and enjoy wild salmon 2 times per week if you can. Pan-sear skin-on with a touch of neutral or olive oil to crisp the skin. The skin is nutrient-rich and concentrates some of the beneficial fats. Use 3-ounce portions if you're tracking intake. Small portions frequently are more sustainable than massive weekend feasts. Cautions: choose lower contaminant options. Wild Alaskan salmon is a common recommendation. Pregnant people and those with concerns about contaminants should follow local advisories and speak with their provider. If you rely on canned fish, reports and lab tests indicate that nutrient retention is often good in canned whole fish, but variability exists between brands. Label reading and choosing reputable sources matters. 4. Cod liver and canned fatty fish. Nutrient-dense, shelf-stable omegas. Canned fatty fishes, sardines, mackerel, and especially cod liver, are economical omega-3 sources and deliver other fat-soluble nutrients. Cod liver brings vitamin A and vitamin D in addition to omega-3s. For people who struggle to get seafood into the week, canned options are an easy fix. They store well, are portable, and in some lab-tested samples retain significant omega-3 content after processing. How to use it? Add a can of sardines or a spoonful of cod liver to salads. Mash sardines with mustard and avocado for a quick spread, or use small tins as a topping for arugula. If you're trying to boost omega-3s without overdoing calories, spread 3 to 4 ounces of canned fatty fish across a couple of meals. Cautions: cod liver is high in preformed vitamin A. Avoid consuming very large amounts daily and consult a provider if pregnant. Taste and texture can be challenging for some. Experiment with lemon, capers, or raw sauerkraut to balance flavors. Again, watch overall dietary intake and choose well-sourced brands. 5. Grass-fed 80/20 hamburger. Protein plus fat for satiety and stable insulin. Not all red meat makes it harder to lose weight. A grass-fed 80/20 hamburger, 80% lean meat, 20% fat, gives you a potent combination: high-quality protein to preserve muscle and a reasonable amount of animal fat that blunts post-meal insulin responses. Protein keeps you full, and supporting muscle mass helps maintain resting metabolic rate. Grass-fed beef tends to have a better fatty acid profile and higher levels of some micronutrients like vitamin K2 and conjugated linoleic acid, though these differences vary. How to use it? Enjoy burgers without the bun, or put the burger on a bed of arugula and sauerkraut. Season simply and pan-sear or grill. Portion size: a standard cooked patty of about 4 to 6 ounces is plenty for a meal when paired with vegetables and healthy fats. Cautions: if you're avoiding red meat for personal or medical reasons, there are alternatives. Fatty fish, chicken thighs, or plant-based protein blends with added fats can produce a similar satiety effect. For the general population, quality and moderation matter more than fear-mongering. Evidence on red meat and cancer is mixed and hinges on processing, cooking methods, and overall dietary pattern. 6. Brazil nuts. Tiny selenium bombs with thyroid and immune implications. Selenium is a trace mineral essential for thyroid hormone conversion and antioxidant enzyme function. Many soils are low in selenium, and small dietary shortfalls over time can matter for metabolism. Just 1 or 2 Brazil nuts per day reliably raises blood selenium into an optimal range for most people, without pills. Because the nuts are so concentrated, serving size is critical. Eating a handful daily can push you past safe limits. How to use it? Limit to 1 or 2 Brazil nuts per day. Crush 1 over yogurt, slice 1 into a salad, or have a single nut as a quick snack when cravings hit. They're calorie-dense, so use them sparingly. Cautions: do not eat excessive amounts. Selenium toxicity is real. Symptoms include gastrointestinal upset, hair loss, and neurological issues if taken in very large amounts over time. If you're on selenium-containing supplements, account for the nuts. Pregnant people should check dosing with their clinician. 7. Extra virgin olive oil. Polyphenols for inflammation and mitochondrial support. Real extra virgin olive oil, EVOO, is more than a cooking fat. It's a concentrated source of anti-inflammatory polyphenols that help protect cells and mitochondria. These compounds can modestly improve metabolic health, reduce oxidized lipids after meals, and support vascular function, again tying back to the insulin and inflammation story. A useful sensory tip: authentic high polyphenol EVO tends to create a slight tickle or peppery sensation at the back of the throat when you taste it raw. That throat tickle is a useful sign that the oil contains active polyphenols rather than being refined or diluted. How to use it: dress salads with EVO, drizzle it over arugula, or finish a plate of fish with a tablespoon. Use it raw when you can to preserve the phytonutrients. For cooking, choose robust olive oil but keep temperatures moderate. Cautions: EVO is calorie-dense. A tablespoon provides around 120 calories. Use it to replace poorer fats, processed seed oils, rather than adding it on top of an already calorie-heavy meal. Watch for adulteration. Buy from reputable brands and look for harvest dates and certifications when possible. Myth-busting interlude: address the fear-mongering and stay practical. A few objections will come up, so let's be clear. Red meat causes cancer. The science is nuanced. Processed meats and very high intakes have been associated with some risks, but grass-fed unprocessed cuts eaten in moderation as part of an overall low-refined carb, high-vegetable pattern do not automatically doom your health. Focus on cooking methods, avoid charring, and variety. Fish have mercury. Yes, some species carry higher mercury. Choosing wild salmon, sardines, and smaller fatty fish minimizes mercury exposure. Many reports show low mercury in small oily fish. For pregnant people or those with specific concerns, follow local advisories and your clinician's guidance. Canned fish is dead food. Not true across the board. In many cases, canning preserves omega-3s and nutrients. Some lab-tested samples indicate good retention of EPA and DHA. Quality and brand matter. Select reputable producers and rotate sources. Unveil pasteurized sauerkraut is just as good. Pasteurization kills live microbes. A pasteurized product still has fermented flavors and some nutrients, but it won't deliver live probiotic organisms. If you want live cultures, choose raw, unpasteurized options. Bonus trio: 3 complementary foods that extend the effects. These 3 are not main list items, but excellent complements that round out the plan. Aged cheese, a fermented source of vitamin K2 and beneficial fats. Aged full-fat cheese contains vitamin K2 variants and fermentation metabolites that support calcium handling and may contribute to healthier metabolism when eaten in moderation. Cheese also provides fat and protein, which help satiety and blunt insulin. Choose high-quality, aged cheeses and keep portions reasonable, an ounce or 2 per sitting. Dark chocolate, high cacao, polyphenols, and magnesium. A small square of dark chocolate, 70–85% cacao, delivers polyphenols that support nitric oxide pathways, improving blood flow, while also providing magnesium, which participates in energy metabolism and muscle relaxation. Use it as a controlled treat. 1 small square after a meal can satisfy cravings and add metabolic benefits. Lactobacillus reuteri yogurt, strain-specific microbiome support. Certain strains of L. reuteri have been associated in research with effects on hormone signaling, sleep, and some markers of muscle and metabolic health. Anecdotally, I noticed small behavioral changes when my wife started having half a cup of L. reuteri enriched yogurt each morning. She reported better sleep and steadier appetite, which translated into fewer nighttime snacks. These are anecdotal signals, not guarantees, but they align with research suggesting specific microbes can influence host physiology. How to use the bonus foods: aim for a small piece, 1 oz, of aged cheese a few times a week. 1 square of dark chocolate daily or as a controlled treat, and half a cup of L. reuteri yogurt per day if available. If L. reuteri yogurt isn't on the shelf, Bulgarian-style fermented yogurts or making your own are decent alternatives. Watch for added sugars in commercial products. Safety note on fermented products and vulnerable groups. Pregnant or immunocompromised people should consult a healthcare provider before adding raw ferments or certain live culture products. Practical meal templates and combinations that actually work. It's not enough to list foods. You need quick pairings that make meals satisfying and sustainable. Here are simple templates you can use during the 7-day experiment. Breakfast: half a cup L. reuteri yogurt, a small handful of berries, and 1 crushed Brazil nut. This combination provides protein, live microbes, a little sweetness, and a trace of selenium to support thyroid enzymes. Lunch: arugula salad with a half cup of raw sauerkraut, grilled wild salmon, 3 oz, 1 tablespoon EVO for dressing, a squeeze of lemon. The sauerkraut and arugula reduce post-meal glucose excursions, EVO adds polyphenols, and the salmon supplies omega-3 anti-inflammatories. Dinner: grass-fed 80-20 hamburger, 4 to 6 Oz, served on a bed of sautéed greens with a small portion of aged cheese on the side. Add a spoonful of sauerkraut for crunch and probiotics. Snack, dessert, 1 square, about 10 grams, of 85% dark chocolate and black coffee or tea. Quick combos for busy days. Keep canned sardines on hand. Toss them on arugula with sauerkraut and EVOO for a 3-minute meal. Grill a couple of salmon fillets on Sunday for easy reheating during the week. Anecdotes and lab-tested notes, short credibility markers. Over the years in clinical practice and personal experimentation, small lab tests and food checks have been useful. For example, some canned fatty fish brands show surprisingly good omega-3 retention when analyzed, so don't discount well-sourced tins. Likewise, trying raw sauerkraut daily for a week often leads to fewer late-night cravings for some people, likely a mix of improved gut signaling and increased satiety from the fiber. These observations are practical signals, not definitive science. They're reasons to experiment, track, and see how your body responds. A brief plan. How to run a focused 7-day test. The most useful experiments are short, measurable, and repeatable. Here's a simple 7-day protocol that focuses on swapping in these foods and reducing refined carbs and seed oils. Days 1-7. Each day, include at least 1 serving from the main 7 foods. Daily half to 1 cup raw sauerkraut, arugula with EVOO at lunch, and at least 1 serving of seafood or grass-fed protein across the week. Aim for 3 Oz wild salmon, twice week, or equivalent canned fatty fish. Add 1 to 2 Brazil nuts per day. Replace processed snacks with a square of dark chocolate or a small portion of aged cheese when cravings hit. Avoid refined carbohydrates and seed oils as much as possible. Swap processed bread and chips for extra vegetables and healthy fats. Note changes. Track hunger, mood, sleep, energy during workouts, and any changes in weight or waist measurements. Small wins matter. Fewer cravings, steadier energy, better sleep, or a ½ inch off the waist can all be real progress. Safety, interactions, and special populations. Brief but essential. If you are pregnant, nursing, immunocompromised, or taking prescription medications, check with your healthcare provider before adding raw fermented products or changing your selenium intake. If you take blood thinners or medications that are affected by vitamin K status, consult your clinician before dramatically increasing vitamin K2-rich foods, aged cheeses, certain fermented foods. For those with nut allergies, Brazil nuts are off limits. Discuss selenium options with a registered dietitian. Vegans can use algae-based EPA/DHA supplements as an alternative to fish, and plant ferments like kimchi or tempeh can provide beneficial microbes, though profiles differ from L. reuteri and dairy-based probiotics. Final thoughts before the challenge. None of these foods is a magic bullet, but each one nudges biology in directions that make fat loss more likely, reducing insulin surges, increasing satiety, lowering inflammation, and improving gut signaling. Combined, especially when you minimize refined carbohydrates and inflammatory seed oils, they create a simple, sustainable foundation that makes healthy weight loss easier and more tolerable. 7-day challenge, summary, and sample day. Try this. For 1 week, include the following each day where possible. 1 Passon 2, 1 cup raw sauerkraut, daily. Arugula salad with EVOO, daily. Wild salmon or canned fatty fish twice in the week, 3 Oz portions. 1 grass-fed 80-20 serving, 4 per 6 Oz, across the week. 1 to 2 Brazil nuts daily. Small serving of aged cheese or a square of dark chocolate as a treat. 1 to 2 cup L. Reuteri yogurt daily if available. Sample day. Breakfast, 1 to 2 cup L. Reuteri yogurt, handful of berries, 1 crushed Brazil nut. Lunch, arugula salad with 1 or 2 cup raw sauerkraut, grilled wild salmon, 3 Oz, 1 TBSP EVOO. Snack, 1 square of 85% dark chocolate. Dinner, grass-fed 80-20 burger, no bun, with sautéed greens and 1 Oz aged cheese. Track how you feel. If hunger is calmer, sleep improves, or late-night cravings drop, that's a sign these foods are moving biology in a useful way. If you experience adverse symptoms, digestive upset, rash, unusual fatigue, stop and consult a professional. One last practical tip. Quality matters, but so does consistency. Buying top-shelf items every time is great, but it's better to regularly eat affordable, minimally processed versions of these foods than to occasionally splurge. Canned sardines one day, wild salmon the next week, raw sauerkraut from a trusted brand, a single Brazil nut each morning. These small daily habits add up. If you're ready to try it, take the 7-day test and come back to tell me what changed. Post "I'll try" in the comments so we can compare notes. I'll also link a how-to video for making El Roitery-style yogurt at home and a 1-page daily reboot that lays out a sample shopping list and meal plan to make this as simple as possible. I'll be honest, I'm in my 60s now, and the combination of focusing on foods that blunt insulin, reduce inflammation, and feed the microbiome has been a major reason I feel energetic and strong. That's not a promise it will work exactly the same for everyone, but it's a practical, science-aligned approach that has helped many people, myself included, get unstuck. Try these foods for 7 days, see what changes, and then watch the Yogurt Weinchoss how-to video next to learn a simple, do-it-yourself recipe for one of the most helpful probiotic additions you can make to your routine. If this resonates, like, subscribe, and come back to share your experience. You might be surprised how a jar of fermented cabbage and a handful of greens can change the trajectory of your weight loss efforts.